Have a seat. Go for start.
Yeah.
Oh my. Plenty of seats in there. I got 2 more chairs back. No, you don't need more chairs. 4 chairs. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get things started. We appreciate you guys taking the. Yeah. Appreciate you being here, but I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right.
He doesn't need that.
Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get things started. As you guys know, we live stream this now. All right, why don't you go back one screen? Especially you guys that are international or people out of state that can't be here on a regular basis, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can check us out. It's live streamed every single month now. Okay?
When's that start?
Now. We are live streaming now. You can see the beautiful cameras
Where's the camera?
right next to you.
So your wife's
One over there.
Oh, okay.
One over here, pointing right at you. So people know where I got my good looks from.
Oh.
All right. Go. YouTube. I already got this. Everybody get it already? Good? All right. MI Investors Club. Here's our Facebook page. As you guys know, how many first timers we got? Raise your hands. Okay. What are you doing?
You're not a first timer.
No drugs before the meeting, all right? So join our Facebook group. This is where you guys can ask questions. This is where you'll find the people that show up on a regular basis, as well as a lot of the problems that people come across to be posted on here and find. I think we're like 7,000 members, give or take, right now. All right? Everybody got it? Got it. Get it up. Does this look familiar to anybody?
Mine. That's mine.
How do you know? How do you know?
Yeah.
So we've had this for I think 6 months. How long? Oh,
Was that the one I found on the road?
what was that?
Mine.
What's in it?
Mine.
Calm down. I know when I see one. What's in
It
it?
used to be money.
What's in it? How much money?
I don't remember. I asked it like a month ago.
How much
I asked you
money?
the day I found it if you had it on.
It's all
you, and you said
singles.
you did.
Yeah, of course I have my change purse. I probably just didn't.
Whose phone number?
It doesn't signal away.
There you go. There you go. I think there's like $100 in there.
Yeah, I lost. Yes. Thank you.
Hey, what about our reward money? Give it more money. Oh, yeah. You
Thank God she's having children.
All right. Everybody got some my investors. So you go buy a house that down payment. All right. Give me a dog house. See what I'm saying? Can't spot a dog today. Horrible decision. All right, guys. 50/50s, as you guys know, the boys are running around selling the 50/50s in the back. Give them a round of applause. Close your eyes. I'll make you come back up here. Remember? That's what we did last month? All right. So here's the price for the tickets, 20 for 15. And again, all the proceeds are going to Miracle on Monzo Street. So we buy presents and gifts to help families out during Christmas time. All right, let's go.
And what's so special about tonight, Eric?
Oh, yeah. Go back. Excuse me.
Wait,
I
what's
apologize. Would you like to tell the main crowd?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, guys, as you walked in, you saw this amazing basket of patriotism.
Cooler.
So you can celebrate and use that on the 4th of July with your families. And we have a very large igloo cooler, a lot of treats, and a plethora of malt beverage in there as well. So yeah, second poll on the 50/50 also gets that care package. Okay? So 2 winners. All right, insider's inventory. If you guys are looking for any of our off-market inventory, this is what you want to do. Take out your phone, scan the QR code. It'll bring you right to insidersinventory.com. This is all our portfolios. This is all our off-market inventory. This is absolutely everything. Okay? So, we don't announce it here anymore, like I say every single month. But this is where it gets posted. It gets posted here before it gets broadcasted out. If you get an email and you sign up for our off-market email blast, which you have not done tonight, that's on our website. You can sign up for it. But it hits Insider's Inventory literally typically 24 hours before it gets broadcasted out. All right, good? Good to go. I guess we should do this now for no reason. Silence your phones. How many people came from the chamber that have not been here before? One? Okay. Johnny, you see that? Where's Johnny at? There. Okay. Thank you for coming, representing the chamber. Of course, thank you, John. Upcoming speakers, we are super excited to announce our second gubernatorial candidate that's going to be speaking to our investor meeting. So, Perry Johnson is coming. If you guys don't know who Perry Johnson is, Perry Johnson is the guy that basically has certifications for manufacturing. You see the ISO stamps all over the place. The chamber reached out to us. The chamber gave us Perry's contact information. So he's going to be coming in. He's going to be talking a little bit about himself, but mostly about what his housing policy is going to be if he was elected governor. So that's not a fundraising event, okay? This is literally him just addressing us as investors. So put it in your calendar, 7/21, no heckling. Okay, I'm serious. So, all right, 8:18, we got Michelle Donovan. Michelle's one of our in-house attorneys here, as well as our speaker tonight, and she's going to be going over business hygiene. So, teaching you how to set up LLCs, how to keep things up to date, and how to not make common mistakes.
I seen the word business hygiene. I thought maybe that was a shot at me and Anthony.
No, it's not. No. I know it kind of sounds dirty, like, I don't know, right? I wouldn't have called it that. It's okay, though. I didn't come up with the name. So. Show of hands. Who found it hard to sign in tonight versus normal? Ooh. One person tells me it's okay. Seriously, nobody else? It was nice and easy for you guys? Okay.
There was one hiccup. We just hit a refresh the page.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying new things, trying to make things simpler where we can actually read people's handwriting and put it directly in the database and save a little bit of time. So let's see what our insider's inventory market temperature is. And just to let people know, if it's their first time, this is the survey that you took when you first signed in. And this is just us asking what if you're optimistic about the real estate market right now, being insiders and people who invest heavily in Macomb County, in the Tri-County area, we trust your guys' opinion, and I'll put your opinion against any magazine or any economist across the country. So let's see what we got. 1 to 10.
7.
Oh.
655. Okay. How many of you guys, raise a hand, how many of you guys feel a hell of a lot better about it in the last 24 hours? Raise your hand. Okay. Five?
Oh, South London is good.
Yeah! We'll talk about it. 655. Let's go. Let's see where we're going to look at. Regardless, substantial uptick. Okay? It's a nice little uptick. You were at 5.7, it looks like, in April. So it's a nice little uptick. That's nice. There you go. 6.4. You were 6.4. It's a nice movement. Whatever. Let's go. All right. Here's some headlines. Trump ends the war in Iran. Can we get a fucking round of applause for that? Right. If oil continues to drop, this will remove inflationary fears. Guys, this is immense. This is immense. This is for the housing market. I don't think you guys realize how much worry that the prior Fed, current Fed, whatever, but the housing industry has had over this. This will, in turn, allow the Fed to stay steady with rates. They're talking about oil at $3.50 here in a couple weeks. I'm not going to hold my breath that it's going to drop that quick. But the more important thing is this allows the Fed to not have to raise rates. If oil recedes dramatically, The rest of consumer goods are not going to, but as long as we see that inflation curve go the other direction, this is going to be huge for us. All right, how many of you guys bought SpaceX? Raise your hands.
Of course.
Of course you do.
All right. SpaceX completed the largest IPO in history, which you guys probably already know. Went up 20% on the first day for the IPO. Went up 10% yesterday. Went up 12% today. I think we're at 45% kicker. Why is that important? You have a lot of people that all of a sudden just generate a shitload of wealth, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Okay, so love that. Another one here I threw on here too. Our UWM, and you UWM people here, Joe. This son of a bitch is at a 52-week low, and if you buy it, you never get stock tips out here, right? If you buy it, the dividend right now is 16% because it's so low. What do you think, Mace? Is it buy or sell?
Bye.
Shut up.
Nah.
All right, this is another one to put on your radar, guys. I love that. 16% dividend. It's not going to stay that way. But now that you have this change in inflation, if mortgages start going down, which we'll talk about in a second, that's going to stimulate refis. Okay, and then you got Kevin Warsh is now taking over for the Fed, which he's going to have his first meeting. Biggest thing they're talking about with Kevin is they're saying that Kevin is going to control everything. So what does that mean? You have Federal Reserve in different states, okay? You got one in Chicago. You have people placed across this country. What happens is they open their fat mouths, okay, and they say things to contradict the head of the Fed. Right. And so you have all this kind of noise in the background, and people are guessing what they think is going to happen just because of dissent. Just like it'd be like the Supreme Court talking shit about what they're going to do before they actually do it. So the idea is he's going to try to tighten that up to where they have more control and there's less kind of white noise. So my 2 cents is expect steady rates and more Fed control. Let's go. Jesus. All right. Give Eric a round of applause for taking his day and putting these together for you guys. It's a ton of work, and everybody bothers him the whole damn time he's doing it. So, new listings, pretty flat, 1,465 versus 1,530. We should have had a bigger uptick. Normally, if we're going from April to May, you have more inventory, not less. All right, so that's kind of surprising. Pending sales are up. Are they supposed to be up? Yes, they're supposed to be up. Supposed to sell more homes in May than you do in April. Closed sales are up 15%. That's a substantial gain, but again, it goes with seasonal adjustment. Look at this. You had a 20% drop last month down to 36 days on market, and bam, 28 days on market. That's good. That's good. All right. Okay. And right now, we're selling our homes 10 days quicker than your average agent. So do the math on that. If 28 is your average, 18. Look at this shit. Average sales price, last month 4%, this month 3%. So inflation, appreciation, good for the housing market, yes, right? We had a 3% dip, and guys, our 3% increase, that's in 30 days. Watch some of the coming counties too, even more shocking. Inventory stayed the same for Macomb. Did it really grow?
No.
1,127 versus 1,465. It probably did a smidge, but not much. Okay, let's go. Any questions on Macomb? Nobody wants to call you a liar here. All right. Listings, 2,500 versus 2,346. You got a decent little uptick there, not nearly as much as Macomb. Pending sales up 15%. Nice, seasonally adjusted. Closed sales, 1,388 versus 1,235. Love that. And here we go again. Days on market, another dramatic drop. 28 days versus 22 days in Oakland County. I was talking about this at our team meeting. I got a cousin that's moving back from the military, and she's looking in the Clarkston area. And we put offers on 4 houses that were all coming soon, and every single one of them went 7% over asking. Yesterday, I got her locked up on one that she purchased for 10% above asking.
Wow.
Now, luckily, well, forget that. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah.
No trade secrets. But let's just say it was a challenge to get it accepted at that. A hell of a challenge. Okay? So, just so you know, if you're playing around that area, things are moving. And you got a 4% appreciation, almost too, in the last 30 days. Check this out, guys. 2.2 months of inventory. Oakland County is now under 2 months of inventory. 1.9 months of inventory. What's up, Sandy? You got one chair next to Flood.
Okay, I'm gonna get there in a minute.
Take time.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go. All right, then we changed some things here. As you guys know, we only do Detroit. Well, we are now moving that into Wayne County for obvious reasons. It's about time. We're doing a hell of a lot more transactions, especially downriver and a bunch of other areas out there.
Plus, we got a Livonia office now.
That's in the slide, sir. Thank you for jumping ahead. Okay. You look great, Dave. You look great. Remember the front row next time. Here we go. All right. New listings are kind of flat. Pending sales are up. Love it. Closed sales are stagnant. Days on market, though. Look at that shit. Oh, thank you, Eric. I didn't even know you got these in here.
Good job.
Okay, so 40 days on market down to 33. Ooh. So if that was just Detroit, I don't know what the hell the numbers were last month. I think it was 55 or 60 days on market for Detroit. So that's mixed in there. Detroit is mixed in there with a really high days on market. You're at 33 days. Okay. Average sales price, oh my God. Again, Detroit's mixed in there. And the DM county went up 8.64% in 30 days. So it is. It is. There we go. I was gonna call you bluff on that when I saw it. All right, so that was obviously the Detroit numbers. Detroit numbers at 6.1 months of inventory. When you mix it into Wayne County, 3.3 to 3.3, so 3.3 months. That shows you that those surrounding areas, how low their inventory is. It's probably very similar to your Oakland's, 2 months of inventory. All right. Any questions?
Wait, so is there one without Detroit included in
No. This has Detroit included in it. This is the whole county of Wayne.
What do you think about doing one with Wayne without Detroit though?
If you can pay him to do that, that sounds great. I will not be paying him to do it.
How much should I charge you?
I don't know. Whatever you feel, whatever you get away with, bro. You know? All right, let's go. All right, so here's some highlights, guys. Builder sentiment, 14 consecutive confidence drops. Index is at 35 right now. 50 and lower is considered negative builder confidence. Okay? This, not 22. That was so mean. Sorry, I can't even blame you. 2011 and 2012 levels is what this is. 2011 and 2012 levels for builders. But do I expect that to change dramatically by next month? Yes. If they know that materials are not going to continue to go through the roof, if they know that they're going to have more availability, petroleum is not going to affect shingles and every other damn thing in the building trades, that I really do believe that sentiment's going to take a nice tick up. And somebody call me out and remind me next month what the hell I said, okay? All right, facts. Consumer sentiment index rose to 48.9 in June from 44.8. Guys, that was an article from today. Okay? So I think you got a big bump, for obvious reasons. 1 year inflation. This is another article from today. Expectations are now expected at 4.6% versus 4.8 was the consensus. So you got a 0.2% drop. Big movement. Is it still high? Yes, it's still high. We need, remember the Fed's target, 3 is way too high for them, right? Yeah, the target's 2. So we're at 4.6. Regardless, do I expect that to change rapidly? Yes, we hope so. Unemployment, I thought this was interesting. We broke it down by the county this time, and I think we should do this moving forward, just so people can get a good snapshot at it. Macomb County unemployment instead of the nation, right? 4.3%, Oakland 4.7, and Wayne 4.6. These lazy assholes in Oakland County need to get to work, huh? You know what I mean? These guys doing. All right, wrapping it up. Iran wrap-up will bring optimism to the housing market. Buyers that are scared and have been worried, I think we're going to have a substantial uptick of people getting through doors. I don't know if this is going to happen tomorrow or if it's going to happen in a week to see how things truly solidify, but I really do think it's going to be a catalyst. Just like we had the tariff stuff that scared the shit out of people, now we can remove this. So I really think it's going to give people a little bit more motivation, okay? We have another large jump, appreciation jump, 5% on average. I told you about the housing industry. You saw, 8.6% or whatever the hell it was in Wayne. You saw Macomb at 3. You saw Oakland right in there as well. So you got about a 5% average that the Tri-County area has appreciated in 1 month. Think about that. Your average home, we'll say here in this area, is $300,000. Take another $15,000 every single month of equity, right? Not so bad. Not bad. So here's my prediction. Summer will be on autopilot. Expect an increase from pent-up traffic and more highest and best. Okay? Any questions?
Yeah, so you're seeing how much?
You raise your hand, sir.
Asking price are you seeing
So
on average?
I would tell you it depends on the area and if things are priced aggressively or not. Oakland County, like we have a lot of those scenarios. And the strange part is it's in the higher end homes. The homes I was talking about earlier, the Clarkston ones, were all over 6.
I've got 15K over
And so I would tell you that the highest and best have been a lot less than they've been in the past during this time of year. Normally, everything we would put on the market, in that late May, early June, we would get, if it was priced decent, I'd have highest and best on everything. Now, as I said in our last investor meeting, which you were too busy to come to, we talked about kind of fake it. Everybody's faking it until they make it.
Yeah.
So the agents are all pretending they had a highest and best. The agents are all like, oh yeah, I got a lot of people that are interested in this one. It's like it just diarrheas out of our mouths at this time of year, and it wasn't real. It just wasn't real. And so I think we're gonna have a change of guard here. I really do think if rates recede, which we had a 0.5 point drop since the Iran stuff is wrapped up, that's big movement, right? That's big movement. And if we have that and we get a little bit more consumer sentiment because of that anxiety is removed, I think we are going to have a substantial amount of highest and best. I think everything was just slowed down. I think everything's about 45 days behind right now, and I'm really hoping that we can gain some momentum. So that's what I think. So I am much more optimistic than I was 30 days ago. Last one for sure. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
No? You're wrong, Eric. All right. So we have a great speaker. Everybody welcome Shant Norsigian, Esquire. So everybody knows, like I said, Sean, full disclosure, is one of our in-house counsel here. He does an amazing job for us. I'm super excited to hear him speak, and his services are open for anybody who likes to not suck up all his time, because he still has to do our stuff. So.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
Hello, as Eric said, my name is Shant Norsigian. I'm a real estate attorney. I've been an attorney for 19 years. I've been doing almost exclusive real estate work for the last 12 years, and in those 12 years, I tend to see the same things happen over and over again. The same mistakes, the same questions. So I feel like, I just want to go through a few things with you guys, some things that I've seen before, some new stuff that I've seen coming through that, landlords especially need to listen to. And I definitely want you guys to ask questions. So if you have a question, throw your hand up. And then if you have a little bit more of a detailed question, I'll be doing like an office hours type thing after this. You can come see me, talk about whatever you got going on. I'm happy to do so. So, legal discipline. What does that really mean? Legal discipline means talk to your lawyer before you do things, okay? Whether it's me or if it's someone else, make sure you talk to your lawyer. Don't just do things if you're not sure. You know, even if I don't charge people, I don't charge my clients to talk to them. Some lawyers do. Even if your lawyer charges you, hey, talk to him in the beginning. I promise you, if you talk to him in the beginning, it's going to be, you know, if you don't talk to him in the beginning, let me tell you like this, and then there's a mistake that needs to be cleaned up, I promise you, it's going to cost you 3 times more at least. It's going to eat up your time, and it's going to give you a headache, okay? So just remember that. That's the moral of this whole speech. Talk to your lawyer. As an investor, as a landlord, your lawyer's your best friend. Talk to them. Bend their ear, get their advice. You guys know what you're doing when it comes to buying properties, sniffing out the right properties, fixing, flipping, renting, but you don't always know the legal stuff of it. You might know some of it. Make sure you have an expert. Use your resources. It's incredibly important. You know, I just kind of touched on that because really what you guys do as investors, there's like the fun part and like the work part. You know, to me, the fun part is finding properties, you know, scrolling Zillow, scrolling the Monzo Group off-market stuff. Hey, what looks good? What's going to work? Crunching the numbers, things like that. You know, that's fun. Kind of, you know, I do that in my spare time, kind of sitting on the couch, just scrolling around. That's easy. But, you know, and a lot of people think the work is just the physical work, the rehab work, getting the contractors lined up, things like that. But really the work is the paperwork, the back end sort of stuff. Make sure you have all your ducks lined up before you fully dive into something. Make sure, well, I'll get into all the things you need to make sure of, but you know, there's 2 parts of it. If you put in the time in the beginning, then it's going to work out much better for you. I can promise you that. So this is just generally a roadmap of what I'm going to talk about today. I'd like to thank Eric Nowak for making these beautiful slides for me. He did a really great job, so thank you very much, Eric. So the first thing I want to talk about, so really what I'm going to do is I want to talk about the doom and gloom stuff in the beginning, kind of like a Pixar movie. I want to break you down a little bit, and then we'll get to some of the nicer stuff and build you back up. Law changes. What is happening right now? I'm going to tell you what's happening. First, let's start with Detroit. Anyone invest in Detroit here? Anyone hands? Okay. Stuff's happening in Detroit. Certificates of compliance. You guys have certificates of compliance on your house? 14% of houses in Detroit have certificates of compliance. Why that matters, the law technically says you cannot collect rent unless you have a certificate of compliance. The one nice thing that the judges down at 36th District Court have been doing for as long as I've been doing this, they've been ignoring that law. You know, 14% certificate of compliance, you know, it's not all your fault. You know, a lot of it has to do with how you're going to get the inspectors out there. How you know, are your tenants going to let them in? And then there's the work that needs to be done. 5 days ago, something like that, the Michigan State Law Center, in conjunction with all the legal aid societies in and around Detroit, sent a letter to the chief judge in Detroit saying you guys are doing it wrong. You're not enforcing the certificate of compliance stuff. You better do it. Now, it was really sneaky the way that they did it because they sent him the letter and then they leaked it to the Free Press. I think Free Press ran a story on it on Saturday. No one bothered to spend the time or money to try to file an appeal on any of these cases to try to get the law changed because that takes time. You know, it's expensive. No one really wants to do that. So they're trying to kind of skirt the rules and just appeal to the court and then put pressure on them from the public. You know, what the court ends up doing, we don't know yet. I can guarantee you that they're going to have a meeting down at that courthouse among all the judges over the next week. And who knows? Who knows how that's going to play out? I mean, obviously, from an optics standpoint, you know, they might not want to come out and say, hey, we're not going to do this, you know, and support landlords. But at the end of the day, you know, if just the nightmare of them trying to enforce that might buy you guys a little bit of time. But something's coming. Whether it's now, whether it's later, I don't know, but it's definitely something to be mindful about. In addition to that, back in September of last year, there's a group of politicians that got together and they're trying to put forward this bill to change the landlord-tenant laws, or some of the landlord-tenant rules, I should say. What are they talking? None of it's passed anywhere yet. And to me, really what it's going to come down to, because obviously, I don't really like politicians, no offense to our speaker next week, but it's going to come down to who they're going to listen to. Are they going to listen to their constituents, or are they going to listen to their donors? I don't know how that one plays out, but here's what they're talking about. When you file a non-payment of eviction case, right? 7-day notice, as long as it's not a Section 8 tenant. They're talking about switching that to 14 days now. They're talking about having strict timelines that need to be enforced by the court for repairs that you do on properties. They're saying if something's like a life-threatening issue, like a beam coming down, I'm not going to get too deep into the contracting work of it, but quote unquote life-threatening issues will need to be repaired in 48 hours if this bill passes. Issues like mold and pest control, 72 hours. They don't specify black mold versus like regular mold. They're just talking about mold and pest control. So these are things that could strain you a little bit, whether you have your own work crews or if you're contracting that out. So that's something to keep an eye on. And as I said, they're trying to get court oversight on this. So not only do they want you to do these things, but they want a judge to sign off on every single thing you do. And that's going to create a big problem because now you're relying on judges who are far from experts in contracting work to decide whether or not what you've done is sufficient. And to me, that's going to come down to the judge's personal bias. Are they landlord friendly? Are they tenant friendly? They also want to cap application fees for new leases to $25. I know a lot of people, you get a few extra bucks on the application fee, or you raise the application fee a little bit so you don't have everyone and their brother coming through and, forcing you to go through a bunch of unqualified people. That might change. $25, you're going to have a lot more people applying, a lot more things to dig through. And the final thing that they're talking about is the security deposit return timeline. I'll get into security deposits a little bit more later in the program, but as you may or may not know at this point, you have 30 days to give the tenant back their security deposit or provide them an itemized list of damages and explain to them what you're keeping and why you're keeping it. They want to lower that to 15 days, which sounds like a nightmare to me because who's going to be able to get estimates and prices on all these damages in 15 days to get it back? Because if you don't have it, you don't have that itemized list, you got to give it back. You don't really have a choice there. Going back to like the application process, source of income. Now this is one thing I really don't understand. Maybe you guys can enlighten me a little bit more from your perspective. It's a really big deal in the legal world. Oh, you have to treat people coming in as Section 8 tenants the same as you would treat a non-Section 8 tenant. I would want Section 8 tenants. I don't understand why people don't. I mean, is there anyone who doesn't, who has an explanation why you don't like Section 8 tenants? Robert.
So we rent to both Section 8 and non-Section 8. We used to be able to get a nice bump in rents a couple years ago. You're not getting that now. In fact, we're seeing reductions in what they're approving and challenging you more on what you're trying to get stuff rented for initially. We're getting the bump on the lease renewal, but not on the initial.
Interesting.
Also,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Also, you have to jump through some hoops when you've got to do your annual inspection. Because if the tenant's not maintaining the property, and most of them do not maintain the property, even though it's tenant damage, the owner still has to pay for that. Your tenants do not have the money to do so. So your owner's still forking out money because you've got 30 days to be in compliance or you go into abatement, which means they stop paying your rent. So we used to be very heavy Section 8 tenants during COVID because we wanted the guaranteed rent.
Yeah.
Now we're doing as little Section 8 as we can just because we're not really seeing the benefit.
Interesting. Anyone else? Did anyone agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
100%. 100%. Initial inspection too. Initial inspection is more stringent than the city inspection.
Okay.
You typically don't get any money for at least 60 days. That's what
Yeah.
you're waiting for.
You're waiting.
Yep.
Interesting.
They're also with smoke detectors with the lithium now. If something is not right on any of that, you got 24 hours, you're in embankment.
Smoke detector, that's interesting.
The insurance is more expensive as well.
Insurance is more
Yeah.
expensive.
No doubt.
Very
Yeah, we
interesting.
played a game here, huh?
Yeah, I know. I thought I was gonna flip it on you guys. You're making some pretty good points.
Now, and something else too, though, I will tell everybody here. Anybody who's looking to buy properties, especially out of state, internationally, every one of them, they beg us for Section 8 properties. That's their biggest check in their buy box. Price, Section 8. So there are a substantial amount of advantages with it. That stability, or at least the perception of stability. The vacancy rates on a Section 8 property are way lower than a regular property too. I would say your average Section 8 tenant, and this is just my personal experience, it's not some government statistic, but I would say the average Section 8 tenant stays at least 5 years. So,
That's probably a pretty good.
we're averaging probably 14 months with a regular tenant.
Yeah, only my observation over the last 1 year, depending upon the which Section 8 is, like RPI is the worst people that I found. The worst people that you call on Monday, they respond you back on Friday. And then, did you call me? I say, yes, I did call you. So there are Roseville and other people, and those are very good. They come and pass the inspection so easily, but RPI, if anybody tenant comes RPI, then no, I'm sorry, I don't want it.
Interesting. All right, well, man, you guys took the wind out of my sails a little bit there, but here's what I see, right? Because I don't deal with the day-to-day stuff like you guys, but this is what I see from my perspective. This is why I think Section 8 tenants are great. One, you have guaranteed cash coming in every month. Yes, it may take 60 days to get that party started, but the money's coming in at least. So if you have a tenant, let's say you got $1,500 a month as the rent, you're getting $1,200 a month from Section 8, they have to pay $300. Well, if they're a month behind, you don't have to call me right away to kick them out of the house, right? Maybe you let it go for a little bit, because if you evict someone, pay me a few $100s, God forbid you have to call a sheriff to kick them out, that's a couple thousand or $1,000 to $2,000, something like that. And then you got to turn the house over, you got to find a new tenant. That takes time, that eats up money, in my opinion. I think that's a big positive of Section 8 tenants. The second thing that I think is a positive, and Robert, you mentioned this earlier, and I'm not trying to dunk on you too much, but you worry about what Section 8 tenants are going to do to the problem. Well, in my experience, when you have in lower income housing areas, it doesn't matter if you're Section 8 or a regular tenant. Sometimes tenants do terrible things to properties. They don't really care because, a lot, and I'm generalizing, but a lot of tenants don't really care because it's not their house. They don't treat it very well. Stuff's gonna happen, and I think that happens across the board, whether or not you're getting part of your rent paid for. As a Section 8 tenant, you have a little bit more accountability as far as that's concerned. Because if you do tear up a house, well, now I might not let you out of that contract if you owe me money to go find a new place to live. Or if you do tear up that house, I'm gonna talk to your caseworker. I'm gonna let them know what you did, and you might lose your voucher. There's a 7-year waiting list to get on Section 8 right now. So there are plenty of people. 7 years. 7 years. Yes, and I mean.
Put your applications in now, guys. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And I don't want to soapbox it too much, but I mean, a lot of that has been created by the courts. They got legal aid working with the tenants in especially in Detroit. Legal aid's they have 4 or 5 people in every single courtroom. Everyone gets to talk to legal aid, and their goal is to make sure the tenant keeps their voucher. I can tell you that there's certain tenants that I've evicted 4 or 5 times over the last 3 years. They've kept their voucher, and that means what? That's 4 or 5 people that are on the waiting list that are still on the waiting list and haven't been able to find a new place to go. Sorry, that was my soapbox moment. I think someone should file a class action lawsuit against the courts for that, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Okay, so that's basically source of income. generally if they have money, you're gonna accept them. Do your background checks. I'm sure you all have services that do background checks. I'm sure that you've learned, I think it was 6-7 years ago, they started removing judgments off of credit reports. So you might not always be able to see, well, you're not gonna be able to see if they have judgments just by looking at credit reports. My advice to you, when you have someone coming in who wants to be a tenant, I know that you guys ask them where they used to live. Well, at that point, you need to go look at every court in every city has, what's called a register of action, and you can search to see if anyone's been listed on there. So it might not pop up on the credit report, but you can look at the courts to see if people have been evicted. You might also find, in those same courts, you'll see, if they have a bunch of credit card judgments, issues like that. You're not going to see the bankruptcy because you have to be an attorney to have access to Pacer to see like the technical bankruptcy stuff. But you'll at least have a better idea of what you're getting.
Okay, real quick, if we leased your property, if you wanted the Monzo Group to do it, felony background, okay? We check for any evictions, and then of course your credit score, as well as proof of income. Don't forget your proof of income. And when somebody tells you, oh, it's fine, here's my bank statement, always make sure it's somebody that actually shows you their tax returns, because I cannot tell you how many times people do not make, we don't do anything over 36% of their income can be used for housing. So 36% debt to income. So I would say that's a good rule of thumb as well.
And the one final thing that might also be coming down the pike for different as part of the legislative package that I was talking about earlier that favors tenants is they're trying to pass a law where tenants can apply to expunge their eviction records. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page with that. I don't know what the timeline looks like. I don't know if it's 1 year out, 5 years out. If it's 10 years out, something like that, okay, whatever. But that's something to keep an eye out. So it's really important to be vigilant about who you let live in your house.
Absolutely.
Your house, at the end of the day. Let's talk about leases a little bit. So with leases, I have a lot of different clients. They all have different leases, right? There's not really a standard form that everybody uses. Some of them have good leases. Some of them, one client's got a 1-page lease. I don't know. He's a new client. I saw it. I was super disappointed by it, and you can guess how that case went. So make sure you stay on top of your leases. Talk to a lawyer. You can even Google around a little bit, see what kind of leases you find out there. Look for things that are interesting. Look for things that you can use to protect yourself. But at the same time, you need to know the law. You need to know what you can say. You need to know what you can't say. Every lease has to have a truth in renting statement on it. It's in the statute. It's like a paragraph. It's not really that important. Well, it's important in the sense that you have to have it. It doesn't really say a whole heck of a lot. If you want to know what that is, you can Google it. You can reach out to me. I'll send you, I'll email it to you. You can cut and paste it. Boom, just put it right at the top of your lease and you're covered. Another thing that people don't know about when it comes to leases has to do with incidents of domestic violence. So you should also have a clause in there regarding this. So if your tenant is a victim of domestic violence, then they can provide to you, you can use a PPO, or you can use like a written notarized statement to say, hey, this is what happened. I need to get out of here because it's not safe for me. And you as the landlord have to allow them to break the lease. They don't get to stay for free, but you got to let them out, no matter how much time is left on that lease. So again, if you want that specific language, reach out to me. Also, you can Google it, but I'd rather you reach out to me.
If we have to let them go, what would we put in the lease?
Well, in the lease, it just says that it's specific language. It says basically if you're a victim of domestic violence, then you have the option to break your lease as long as you provide us with, it's a written statement, or it could be something as simple as a PPO. You can even get away with like a police report and a phone call, quite frankly. So be extremely like liberal with that, because you don't want to get caught, you know, trying to squeeze someone on that issue. Like, it's just not going to look good in front of a judge, and you know, it's just not a nice thing to do. I don't know what else to say about that.
I have one more thing real quick.
Yeah, but
So, if somebody comes to you and they have domestic violence, and you say, I'm not letting you out of the lease, okay? First of all, yeah, like you said, you look like a scumbag piece of shit. But on top of that, do you think that person's gonna pay their rent money next month?
No.
I would say,
Great point.
please make it up, even if it's not real, if you wanna leave, because I'm fine with you getting the hell out of the house now, so I can get somebody else in there. As you know, arguing with tenants, or tenants that are trying to manipulate the system, I'm always in the camp of let them go. Okay, don't let them stay for free. But if they want to go, get the hell out, so I can get to my property, I can renovate it, and I can relist it. So,
I think that's just a good rule of thumb to have, period. You know, if your tenant comes to you and says, hey, I can't pay this, you don't want to hold them to that, because now real problems are going to start. You're not going to get your rent. You're going to be pissed. And how do you think they're going to treat your house?
And not to mention this domestic violence situation, you know your house about to be tore up.
and if you get in front of a judge, remember, this is these are residential leases. So if somebody owed you $36,000 for $1,000 a month over the next 3 years, the judge is not going to, he's not going to give you a judgment for $36,000 into the future. He's just going to give you a judgment for the past due rent. You don't get made whole. This is residential. These are residential homes. So there's no point in trying to keep somebody in a leash. Just get them the hell out. Get them the hell out of your house and move on.
Yeah, you're seeing the future a little bit. We're going to talk about a little bit of that in the next slide too. I like it. Okay, so but one thing to note: the truth in renting, domestic violence stuff. The reason why it's important, well, I told you why it's important, but also know this. If you don't have this stuff in your lease, especially the truth in renting thing, court can throw out your lease. That's it. You're done. So have it in there, cover yourself. You know, again, the more work you do up front, the easier it's going to be for you on the back. Oh, you're one behind. Let's go one more.
We got a question in the back up corner.
Oh.
I'm just curious if you've heard of this going on. This just happened to my client. He has a lot of rentals. It was basically somebody was advertising his house on Craigslist for way cheaper.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time.
Does it?
Oh, yeah,
that's everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So this woman came into our office.
That's real big.
And, you know, she was like, I paid my security deposit, I paid my rent, blah, blah, blah. This isn't the owner. Who's the owner of this house? Because now supposedly we're not being allowed in. Well, it was a scam, and somebody scammed her. And he actually had the real person moving in 2 days. So I don't know if he did what was right or not, but he paid her like I think $1,200 or $1,000 or whatever it was. And the person was advertising the rent for like $500. But yeah, so he just erased like it's safer this way because I can get out of the house in 48 hours. But that actually happened on 3 of his houses.
That happens all the time.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feed my kids because that stuff happens. Being honest with you, like, all the time. Scams, man, whether it's rental scams, deed scams, like that's so prevalent right now. You know, Wayne County in, I think it was November of 2024, they made recording a fraudulent deed a felony. Yeah, they haven't done anything about it. Yeah, they don't, I mean, there's the deed fraud unit. You know what the deed fraud unit does? They call me. I used to have a guy down there, someone would go in, complain about something. Oh, you need to do a quiet title, here's a lawyer, go call him. That's if you get someone on the phone, if you get someone to investigate it. I'm dealing with another situation right now, kind of on the opposite end of it, where one of my clients bought a property, got a warranty deed for the property, went to evict the tenant, and you know, little old lady living in the property says, "Oh, my son owns this home. You know, I don't know what you're talking about." Legal aid comes in and says, "Yeah, you know, well, her son is in prison." It's like, yeah, he owns this home, and you know, this is before I got the file. Another lawyer was doing the eviction, and that lawyer said, "Oh, okay," and so they just dismissed the case. There was like no legal proof presented, no nothing like that. Why? So that's upsetting for 2 reasons. One, you should never dismiss the case without any sort of proof. Two, because there's no proof, this guy can't go and make a claim against this title insurance because they're saying we don't have any proof that this was actually fraud, okay? So part of what legal aid promised that they would do for this tenant was refer her to a different legal aid society who was gonna file a quiet title on behalf of her and her son to clean up the property. That was in July of last year. It still has not happened. A year ago. So what happened? Well, we filed a quiet title now. So we have a warranty deed. So we could legitimately sell it with her in it right now, and it would be totally legal. But I don't like to cut those
discount would we buy it for?
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk later. I don't like to cut those corners necessarily, but hey, we filed this quiet title. We laid it all out in the lawsuit. Hey, this is what happened. This is what they said. We're filing this to give them an opportunity to actually do something about it. Because how long are we supposed to sit here and wait and see, well, are they going to do something? Are they not going to do something? My guy's carrying the property. Does he pay the taxes? Does he pay insurance? We need some sort of resolution on that. So they don't do anything down there, and it creates situations like this. So I just want to share that fun story for you. So anyways, back to our slides. Let's go back to leases, okay? The acceleration of rent clause, which Eric touched on earlier. So every single lease that I see says something along the lines of, no matter what, if you move out, if you default, whatever happens, you owe me for the entirety of this lease. Oh, did you have a question? No, sorry. I'm losing it. So you owe me for the entirety of this lease. Now, that doesn't work. No court's gonna hold that up. Unless you add an extra sentence in there that says, you owe me for the entirety of this lease, but I have the duty to mitigate my damages and find another tenant in here. So as long as you're going out there working your butt off to find a new tenant in there, say you get a new tenant in there 2 months later, then you can go after them for those 2 months, okay? If you don't have that in there, then again, you run the risk of your lease being thrown out. So if you want to have that acceleration clause in there, make sure you have the extra sentence that says, I'm going to do my job to make sure that I find a new tenant.
What if you just say, I get an extra month besides, their security deposit?
So that's not going to fly because it's called liquidated damages.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially a specific penalty for an action. You can't do that in the lease. No judge will approve that.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just make sure you say, I'm going to do what I can to find a new tenant in here, but you're on the hook for that gap period.
That's a better way.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't a judge just take the lease without that language, review it and say, hey, you don't have this language in here, but you still have this responsibility. Can you prove you've been trying to do this? Like, what's the difference?
Are you talking about talking to the landlord?
Yeah, the landlord, right? So you're saying you have this acceleration clause and most leases do, but it really is only going to be held up in court of law if you specifically put in that clause that you have a duty to mitigate, right? That's
I see what you're saying.
Right?
Yes, because if you don't have it in there, you're just going to throw out the clause.
Yeah, but why? Why wouldn't the judge just say hey, I see you have this clause in here. You still have a responsibility, Mr. Landlord. What have you been doing? You can answer that question. What's the difference?
But again, it goes to things you can say and things you can't say. So you're putting, I think really what it comes down to is, instilling fear in the tenant, making the tenant feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
You don't want to, it's almost like a threat. I get where you're coming
kind of locking
from.
you in a little bit.
Yeah, and so tenants aren't experts. They don't know as much as you guys do about landlord-tenant, although some of them are really good about it and know how to kind of get around things. But generally speaking, they just don't know. And so you just, the court's going to protect them. When it comes down to it, to make a baseball analogy, between landlord and tenant, tie goes to the tenant every single time. And I don't think I totally disagree with that. We're supposed to know what we're doing. A lot of us are experts, and if you're not, you're at least educated in this field. Whereas again, tenants looking for a place to live. Granted, they're living in your house, but They just don't know what they're doing, and they get a little bit of extra protection. Let's see. Next. Another clause, attorney fee clauses. Again, most leases have attorney fee clauses. You can have an attorney fee clause in your lease. That's okay. Understand this though. That doesn't work in an eviction. It's not going to fly. All you get, as far as you don't get attorney fees if you file an eviction, you get your court costs and expenses reimbursed. Filing fees, service of process fees, forms, postage, things like that, okay? But I'm not telling you to remove that because let's say you gotta sue someone for damages after the fact. Well, you can get attorney fees for that. Leave the clause, so if you leave the clause in there, then you're gonna be covered. Now, my recommendation is to be, this is kind of a jerk move, but it is what it is. Make sure it's a one-sided clause. Don't just say like the winner of a lawsuit gets attorney fees. You don't have to do that, okay? And I was very surprised to learn this a few years back. It's not reciprocal. If you just say, hey, if landlord has to sue you, for damages, then you owe them attorney fees, right? If you have a reciprocal clause in there and you screw up, now they're gonna come after you. Even if they have a legal aid attorney, but they're not paying, well, they're gonna ask for an hourly rate and you're gonna be stuck with that. So make sure you keep that in mind. Keep your attorney fees clauses in there, but just note, but be specific. I would be a little more specific about it and have it, specifically talk about damages and not evictions. And that way there are no issues. Everyone knows what's going on. Especially if you're doing high-end rentals, like you better have that in there. Otherwise, you're going to run into some problems because, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of questions regarding the late fee. Is there any requirement? Someone said $50, someone said $75 or $100. What are the rules?
That's a great question. Gray area, okay? Generally speaking, if you're talking about a lower end lease, like less than $2,000 a month, you don't want to go over $100 in late fees a month. If you're at like $200 a court, you might cut that down to $100. If you're talking about $4,000 or $5,000 a month on a higher end lease, you can get away with a little bit more. There's no hard and fast rule from the Supreme Court or in the statutes regarding that. For example, I had one client there, the tenant was habitually late every month, late. So what did he do? They did an addendum to the lease that says it's $100 a day for every day that you're late. They missed 2 months of payments, and it's like $6,000 in late fees, and it's like, well, that's not going to work. And this tenant for the first month actually paid it. They paid $1,100 in late fees.
That's wild.
It is. And then so we go to evict them a month and a half later, and they're like, well, we paid all these late fees. And I'm like, well, I don't want the judge to see this. Like, I can't, $1,100 in late fees. And so I said, I tell you what, we won't charge you late fees for these last 2 months. We'll call it water under the bridge. And that worked out. But what happened? Next month, they didn't pay their rent. I sent them another 7-day notice. We're going to start the whole thing all over again. But, just be reasonable with it. $100 a month, pretty reasonable. Keep it there. You can still have, $50, $75 fee for like bad checks, things like that. That's separate. I would still have that. Oh, that reminds me, something extremely important that I didn't even put in the slides. One thing that I have noticed is if you allow your tenants to pay by credit card, and there's oftentimes, if they're in eviction, they'll pay by credit card and then they'll do a chargeback.
Yep. I've actually seen that quite a bit.
Yeah, and I've seen that here. So that's the thing. Now, one of my clients, what they do, and I think it's a pretty good idea, if they're going to accept a credit card, the tenant has to come in, basically sign a form that says, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm paying this much money on my credit card, it's for my rent, I authorize this. Picture the driver's license, signed statement, boom. That way, if they try to do a chargeback, you send that to the credit card processor, that should cover you. But it happens, it's a problem.
It is.
Be careful, okay? I would even go to the extent of saying, like, don't accept credit cards. Yeah. okay? But, you know, if you want to, make sure you protect yourself by going that extra step. Again, doing the work up front saves your ass on the back end, like, period. It's just really the theme of the day, yes.
Oh, I was just
Yes,
gonna say,
go ahead.
what's your opinion on accepting like Venmo or Cash App?
For PayPal.
Or
Kind of the same thing. I'm good with that. I think all of those are it's a little bit harder to charge that back, in my opinion.
You can't charge
than-
it back.
You can't at all.
can't charge
Well, there
it
you go. It's a lot harder to charge it back. So I think that I'm good with that. I would still, you know, any sort of electronic payment, again, just cover yourself. Have them sign an extra piece of paper. You know, you don't even need me to draw out the form like that. Just write something up, make a bunch of copies. Hey, if you want to do this, come sign this every time. Sign it, email it to them, have them sign it, send it back to you. Just have it on file, just in case. Okay? Because people get creative on finding ways not to pay their rent. Believe me.
Regarding another two more questions. One
Sure.
about the pay. If you have one pay, you can charge $75. If you can have 200 or 150 per month,
What do you mean?
we are allowed to charge
Charge for what?
for the monthly rent. Charges for the pet. If they
Oh,
have
for pets.
For a dog or cat or anything.
You know, there are no specific rules regarding that. If you want to have a pet, you know,
ESA.
that's a lie. Actually. I felt it. I felt your energy there. If it's a service animal,
Yeah.
right? You got an emotional support poodle or something like that, then
cow.
you probably can't even charge them for that. If they have a doctor's note, you gotta let them keep their animal in there. Usually those are smaller animals though. You know, if you come in and say, I got an emotional support mastiff, I think you might have an argument there to get them out of that. But as long as it's just like a pet and not, you know, a medically necessary pet, you can pretty much charge whatever you want for that.
Oh, really? From
Yes, because I don't know, I have dogs, like they're not super nice to my house, so, and I'm sure anyone else here that has pets understands, you know, they add wear and tear, like
Yes, they do.
that's it, they're worse than kids, so, but I love kids, that's not.
Second question.
Here.
Okay, second question. What's the monthly security deposit? People, I get a different answer. Someone say you cannot charge more than 1.5 months, someone
Correct.
say 2 months.
1.5 months. You cannot ask for last month's rent up front. Someone moves in, first month's rent, 1.5 months security deposit, small application fee, credit check fee, things like that. That's it. Now, you don't want to be asking for last month's rent anyway, because then things can get kind of weird.
Scary.
If you file, if you're filing an eviction for possession of the property, if you file an eviction for possession, what that is you're saying you have 30 days to move out. You don't move out, you know, I'm going to sue you. I don't want any money. Just get out of my house. If you do that, you can't ask for any money. So if you've already asked for last month's rent, you've kind of defeated your whole eviction to begin with. So don't do that. 1.5 months rent. And quite frankly, another like little tip that I have, and you know, this is something that, you know, really, you know, I think became important like during COVID when like all the landlord tenant stuff changed, is I like month-to-month leases. You know, I don't like year-long leases. Let's do a month-to-month lease. If it doesn't work out, send them a 30-day notice and get out of there. Why is that important? Well, if there's a problem with the house, if there are repair issues that you may have neglected, it doesn't really matter if you send a 30-day notice to get out, because you're asking them to get out, right? What are they going to do? They're going to come to court and say, oh, the house is messed up, but I want to stay. Now, you know, a lot of people actually make that argument, but it doesn't really work. So do month to month, especially again, lower income housing, 30-day lease or month-to-month lease, you know, and as long as everyone's paying, everyone's happy, like you're good. But if there's a problem, it gives you an out. If it turns out you have a bad tenant, right? Maybe like they're paying their rent every month, but you don't like what's going on. They're throwing parties, like, you know, you're getting a bad feeling. Okay, it gives you an opportunity to get a clean break, get them out, get someone new in there. So that is definitely something that I recommend.
But even month-to-month basis, you still go to the court, submit the paper, it take 2 months anyway. Even though get the court notice and anything.
It doesn't matter. I mean, again, like you can still do a 7-day non-payment of rent if you want under a month-to-month, but it just gives you the option. If you want to get rid of the tenant, you can get them out. If you have a year-long lease and you don't like your tenant, you have a contract with them. So unless they've like breached the lease, you have to accept money from them if they offer it to you. So just remember that. Like that's what it's for. If you have a bad tenant, it gives you an out. And that's something you can't do if you have a 12-month lease or anything longer than that.
Can I ask a question about the month?
Sure.
So actually, during COVID, from this group, that I heard a lot of the landlords doing that the whole month, right? And so I put in my lease. I don't know if this part should be done this way. That's what I'm looking for your feedback on. But the lease basically read like this lease. The tenant is obligated to 12-month commitment. They're
Nope.
not. Okay, so it can't be bilinear. It has to be both sides have the same amount.
Because now you have a conflicting clause, right? And then the court's going to interpret that in favor of the person who's not trying to enforce it. Okay. So do not do that month to month. It's month to month
For both parties.
both parties. Leave it at that. 30-day notice to get out.
Can you do month to month on Section 8 tenants?
That's a good
No.
question.
No,
That's a good
not
Section 8 won't
really.
accept it.
No.
They do a 1 year, there is some month to month Section 8 after you do, you have to do
After.
initial
Right.
annual.
Yes.
But please note, like, I mean, month to month on a Section 8, you're not gonna be able to adjust the rent, so you're losing the whole, a lot of the reason why you're doing a month to month. You can't change your rental rate every month. You do an annual inspection and you get 1 annual contract, so.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I suppose, like, you have to start with a 1 year, at least 1 year lease. And then, you can maybe let it go and not have them sign a new lease after that. But if you're doing Section 8, you should have a year-long contract. I guess that would be the one scenario where it's important to have that. And, yeah. So that's a good question, though, actually.
One thing I want to add real quick before my dad asked another question. Guys,
Oh, yeah, I forgot to call it.
back to that security deposit that he was talking about, month and a half security deposit, that's it, not last month's rent. I learned this the hard way. I would like you to prepay your lease, sir, for the year. Just so you know, that is considered security deposit. Any prepayment of a lease
Right.
payment is considered a security deposit. So I would never tell you not to take the full year, because I'm still gonna do it. Just kidding, camera. But with that being said, if you got into a court case and where somebody wanted to get out, you're giving them all that money back, and the judge is gonna go, you're an idiot. So, know that.
Absolutely. Month-to-month lease, do that. What was the next one? Oh, I'm sorry.
So with like some of the stuff, especially like some of the limits, like security deposit, or it might be kind of different on the numbers. Is this all mostly strictly Michigan, or is this kind of?
This is strictly Michigan stuff. Every state is different. I have no idea what they do in Ohio. Every state's different. So, yeah, I can't give you advice for stuff in other states other than Michigan. One, I don't know it. Two, ethically, I can't. So, if you're looking at other states, talk to a lawyer in another state, and they'll give you advice on that.
Because they're gonna have some of that all the same, some of them formula to fill out.
I mean, everything is like somewhat similar, but like there's nuances and differences in all of them. Like, well, I guess one thing I can speak to is like timing of evictions, the way they handle those things. Like, it's different in different states. In Michigan right now, you get a 7-day notice. Some places it's a 3-day notice. Foreclosures, for example. In Michigan, you can put a power of sale clause in the mortgage. You can foreclose on a property without even taking them to court. In Florida, you can't do that. You gotta file a court case no matter what, and you gotta let the whole thing play out. So every state is different. If you have questions about different states, I am not the person to ask. Well, I do this, but I'm not the person to ask. So find a lawyer in that state and ask the lawyer that question. My advice. security deposits. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit earlier, the 30 days after move out, right? 30 days after the tenant moves out, either you provide them with the itemized list of damages. You know, if there's no money, they get no money. If there's some money, they get some money. But you have to give them whatever within those 30 days. If you do not provide the itemized list of damages at the end, you have to give them the whole security deposit back. Now, you still have the option to sue them for that security deposit, okay? But you only have 15 days at that point, okay? And then you can sue them to get that back. But if you don't follow the right steps, then you lose your right to claim that. The law views the security deposit as the tenant's property, even though you're holding on to it. One thing in your lease is make sure you put, hey, I'm keeping your security deposit in Chase Bank, you know, Bank of America. Wherever you're keeping it, make sure you put it in there so they know where the money is being kept.
Look, do we have to keep that money separately or the same bank account?
Keep it separate. Don't commingle it with other stuff. Have a separate account for security deposits. You know, generally, I haven't really seen a problem with that. I mean, I can't remember seeing a problem with that recently, but it could come back to bite you. You just don't want to commingle things. Keep the security deposit separate, and that way it's always there. There are no issues. Tell them what bank you're keeping it in, and you've covered yourself.
Does it still have to be non-interest bearing account?
You can put it in an interest-bearing account, but the tenant would be entitled to that interest. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, keep ignoring you. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, but you gotta raise your hand. Eric told you in the beginning. You gotta raise your hand. No special treatment.
My question is this:
Like 4 times.
are you familiar with, as far as like a leader dog, and then that a person has a leader dog, and then all of a sudden it's an emotional support dog? They bought a condo knowing that the condo association doesn't allow dogs in there.
They can't deny them.
You can't deny that person because they're a protected class.
On an emotional support,
Yes.
I
Even
was
though
told
that's
it's
mostly-
a gray area.
It's mostly bullshit.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone who has an emotional support dog. Dogs are great. I love my dogs. When I'm sad, they make me feel better. But you gotta let them do it.
Well, see, this is the thing.
Find another reason to reject their application.
Right.
There you go.
But the thing is this: they just call a doctor online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, get this crappy piece of paper.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're legit.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
This is swinging the other way, guys. This was to the point where there was goats at fucking Myers, right? It was literally to this point. And it's been swinging the other way, and I think a lot of people are starting to use rational thought because of it now. But please understand, like, that right there, we're not even allowed to ask when we lease something if they have that type of animal. So, depending on what judge you got in front of, God knows. But it is very clear that when we lease a property, Sandy's not allowed to say, do you have an emotional support animal? Do you have a leader dog? She's not even allowed to ask those questions.
But once they tell me, then I go ahead.
I was gonna say usually they'll share that information.
You
with
can ask
you.
if you have an
They'll
animal, and then
Yeah.
Dave
You
will probably
can't charge them for
regurgitate
it
it.
either.
Great idea. Hey, do you have any pets? Well, I do. It's an emotional support dog, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you know, you're 1 point below the credit score cutoff, sorry.
Your debt to income ratio is not there.
Yeah.
You cannot deny them for that reason. Don't worry.
Exactly. So, okay, so let's see.
Another question.
Yes.
So you can't deny them though, if they didn't disclose this, or like, then you ask them, is there any way you can still add on charges or something that
No.
would kind of persuade?
No, you're not charged.
You can't charge them for.
No pet fees, no.
No.
A regular pet, actually what happens if they don't tell you about a pet and then they bring it in, that's a breach of lease.
It's a breach of lease. Yeah, you can kick them out for that. for sure.
Yeah.
You can ask them for the documentation stated, but.
So no security.
The people that are doing this are people that already know this.
And he's talking about if you
For the
like
emotional support.
try to hide.
Oh, no.
Oh,
You
no.
cannot take a security deposit for that emotional support.
No, because you're treating that person different than someone who doesn't have a pet.
Okay, so
Most of this is bullshit. That's why you have to talk to you guys. Like, you gotta go, that's just the way it is. Like, the laws are what they are, and we gotta navigate them. That's really what it comes down to. Yes.
What kind of things have you seen that you cannot take out of a security deposit?
Ooh, normal wear and tear is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a gray area, because how many stains on the carpet, right? How many times are you allowed to spill your orange juice without it being a problem? Right? So you just kind of, again, it's gray, you just kind of gotta feel it out. How long have they lived there? What's the overall condition of the property? You're not required to change your, if you get a new tenant every year, you're not required to have fresh coat of paint, fresh carpet every single time. But, after 3 years, 4 years, what's it look like? Is it cracking? How dirty is the carpet? You gotta just kind of eyeball it a little bit. And as long as you're reasonable, and you're reasonable with everything you do, if someone tries to take you to court for that, the body of work will speak for itself. Okay? Hey, I'm a reasonable guy. Like, I gave them breaks on this stuff, like, this is what I'm charging them for. A judge will see that, and, you might get a bad judge on a bad day, but generally speaking, you're gonna be fine. You just gotta kind of eyeball it. Really good question, though. But yeah, you can't just take out for normal wear and tear. It's gotta be major issues. The security deposit information, like I told you, the reason why I said put it in the lease, law says you have to notify the tenant within 14 days of them moving in where you're keeping their money. Put it in your lease, you don't have to think about it, done deal. Now,
What do you mean by that? Where you're keeping the money?
Like
a
what
bank
bank?
account?
Yeah. In a pillow under my bed. No, you gotta say, hey, it's at Chase Bank. You don't have to give the account number, but just tell them what the bank is. And
I give the address.
Yeah, you can give the address too. And like the reason why you do that is if someone has to sue you, like you kind of give them a little bit of help. Like, hey, if you gotta file a garnishment, this is where the money is. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. If you're, side note, if you're worried about people garnishing like your money, whether it's in a landlord situation or something else, change your bank account every once in a while. Like, for real.
Rotate.
Yeah, rotate your bank account. Even the best, and when you're going after scammers or you're going after a tenant who hasn't paid you, like, even like the best, most seasoned like scammers forget to change their bank accounts. So keep that in mind. Protect yourself. You can change the bank where it's held every once in a while. And it's not a bad idea to keep your money in like a small random bank somewhere, right? Because if I'm going to go garnish someone, I'm going to hit up Chase and Bank of America right away because almost everyone keeps their money there. And then if it's not there, then I'm going to start going down. I'm going to go to Flagstar, Citizens, whatever else. But, I'm not going to go necessarily to like mom and pop credit union, because I'm not necessarily thinking about that. At some point, I'm not going to hit every bank, but I'm going to try to get the biggest ones. So that's something to think about. Okay, so within 7 days of moving in, you have to do you better do a move-in checklist, okay? This is incredibly important. Like, this is one of the biggest things that I see people not doing properly. Okay, tenant moves in, you give them 2 blank checklists, 1 move in, 1 move out, okay? And realistically, you can just give it to the tenant and say, hey, complete this, get it back to me within 7 days.
It never comes back.
Never comes back, and you can't necessarily trust what they write. So my advice, do a walkthrough with the tenant.
Yeah.
Go through the checklist with them. Okay, and the reason why this is so important, because at the end, if you are gonna say, hey, you caused these damages, and you don't have a move-in checklist to support the fact that, hey, there was no hole in this wall when they moved in, how do you know that the hole wasn't already there, right? Like, okay, maybe you can show like a listing picture, but I don't know if that listing picture is old or if that was taken right when they moved in. Do the move-in checklist, and then when they leave, right when they leave, don't do it a week before they leave, do it the day they're moving out, do a move-out checklist. I wouldn't recommend doing it after they've turned over the property to you, because then they can flip it on you and say, hey, I haven't been there for the last 24 hours. you know, I don't know what you guys were doing in there, like something could have happened. Do it when they leave, do it when they move in, you'll cover yourself with a security deposit. Incredibly important, don't forget that. This is a simple one. When you're talking to your tenants, do it in writing, every time. Text, email, I don't care. If you have an elderly client who doesn't do either of those things, write letters, do something. Because he said, she said, not gonna work. Remember, tie goes to the tenant, you're gonna believe them over you 99% of the time. Make sure it's in writing, no one can dispute it. You know, you're gonna save yourself a lot of headache. Again, do the work, save yourself in the back end. This is the biggest thing. I can't tell you how many phone calls I get that started with, I was trying to help someone out. I was trying to do a favor. I let them move in early, the house wasn't ready, they needed a place to stay, so I let them move in early before it was fixed. Like, I'm all for helping people out. When I kick people out of their houses, I try to be nice about it, I try to give them extra time, but yeah, I know. Sorry.
Guys, how many of you guys think you're compassionate landlords? How many of you guys think that you're nice and you're kind and you're considerate?
I mean,
Wow, I thought it would be way more than that.
I mean, does
All
anyone
right.
consider themselves a slumlord? Right? So, listen. Don't do favors. Oh, dang. Yeah, why did you say anything? I don't know, because your face gave it away. I laughed at other people. Okay.
Looking around.
All right. No names. No names.
You should.
Listen, this is what happens. You do a favor in the beginning, and things are cool. But the second something goes wrong, they're gonna bring everything back to bite you in the butt. Oh, I moved in, there was no carpet, the furnace wasn't installed, you know, the whole deal, okay? Don't let anyone move in unless the house is move-in ready, period. Just don't do favors. I don't know how else to say it. Next. Utilities. Okay, so this is kind of tricky because different cities handle utilities differently. In Detroit, you can put utilities in your tenant's name. You better put the utilities in your tenant's name. If they don't pay it and it gets turned off, that's their own problem. If the utilities are in your name, they cannot get turned off. You cannot turn them off. I don't care if your tenant is not paying the extra money for the utilities. As a landlord, utility, that becomes your responsibility if it's in your name. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't turn it off if they're not paying to try to force them to move out. You're gonna bring yourself a world of trouble. You want no part of that, trust me. So if you live in a city where they can put it in their name, do it. If not, okay, it's gonna be in your name, then what do you gotta do? You gotta monitor it every month, every single month. Are they paying? If they're not paying, you gotta get on them about it. You know, you don't wanna let it go too long, maybe 1 month, maybe 2 months, even if they're paying their rent, they're not paying those utilities. If they're not paying the extra for the utilities, you know, you gotta cut the problem off. Too many times I've seen clients have, you know, utility bills, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and you're, you know, oftentimes you're stuck with it. You know, sometimes in some cities you can get rid of it. You go to DTE with like the eviction paperwork. You show them what happened. Sometimes they'll clear it for you, but most of the time, if it's in your name, that's not happening. So always in the tenant's name if possible. If not, be super vigilant. Yes.
What if they're supposed to be paying the trash, but you don't really check that? So that the person moved out, but they had to pay for a year, so then you have to pay it? Because like I went down, whatever. But it supposedly gets put on your taxes, but if you already, would you normally take that out of their security deposit?
Yeah, you can definitely take it out of their security deposit. Again, any utility, whatever it is, even trash, you gotta stay vigilant. You gotta pay attention to it. You have to dedicate time to that. You know, whether it's every month, every other month.
But if you didn't check and you checked unfortunately later,
Whoops.
then you're screwed.
Well, you're a very intelligent real estate agent. I'm sure you're on top of all your stuff.
Was it in the lease? Was it in the lease?
Okay. Guys, our best practice here is every quarter we'll check water bills. Because the first decade I was in this business, I cannot tell you how many tenants have paid for water because it pops right onto your property taxes. You
Yeah.
don't really catch it, you don't know what the hell you're doing. So check your water bill online, BSA software, every single quarter. You can see what the balance is, and I would start evictions.
Regarding the water bill, I pay normally and I send the bill every month.
You work too hard.
$50, $30.
What cities are we talking about?
In Warren.
In Warren, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Warren allows you to put the water bill in the
They used to, they don't anymore.
That is on my name.
They'll notify you though if they're short, they'll
Okay.
send notices
Yeah,
out, but
that's
they don't
fine.
allow you to do that.
Yeah, that's just extra work you gotta do every month, you know? It's,
So, but he's saying he pays it and then he.
I pay the
bills
bill
down.
and then I send the bill to the.
that's a great idea, you know, that way at least it's done every month,
Yeah, I
no
know, it is
surprises.
I don't get
Even the ones that don't pay?
Huh?
Even the ones that don't pay?
If they don't pay.
You
on
have
time
to.
in eviction time, then.
Eviction time.
Yeah.
So if it's,
We're
so what
calling it
happens, like, so if it's not, well, I guess the utilities can go, and your
Utility-
water is a different
Naturally.
story.
That's it, it wasn't water, it was trash.
Well,
Trash,
okay.
okay? Sorry.
Candace.
Yeah, it was it.
Keep
It was
an
a lot.
Okay, we got a dumpster out.
Keep an eye on everything,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You have to, okay? Okay, that's it. Keep an eye on everything. Moral of the story. Next. Foreclosures and redemptions. So, any of you guys do lending, do mortgages? Hands? Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know my guys in the back there, but, okay.
I
so-
work with mom and pop business lender.
Okay, well, so that's a little
Oh, that's
bit different than
Oh.
residential because you're dealing with businesses, so you can be a lot meaner to them. You can charge them higher interest rates, and they don't have the same protections that individuals do.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
One, every one of your mortgages should have something called the power of sale clause that allows you to foreclose on the property without taking them to court. It's real simple. Again, you can Google it, find the exact statute, cut and paste it, put it right in the mortgage, or reach out to me. I'll give you that information. Put it in there. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money, and it's going to save you a little bit of a headache. You know, so the other thing, now the other side of it is, you know, as investors, sometimes you want to buy a foreclosure, right? Now, that's not as big of a business in my opinion now, because a couple years ago the state changed the rules as to what happens with like tax foreclosures. So if your property goes to tax foreclosure now, you know, you're entitled to whatever the surplus is after it's sold. That used to be a nice little opportunity to try to buy people out before, before they hit foreclosure. When it comes to mortgage foreclosures, again, you can try to buy people out. You know, you'll get their redemption rights if it's before the actual foreclosure. Not as much opportunity there, in my opinion, but again, that's something you guys probably know a lot more about than I do. But that's just kind of what I see there. So, my thought. Now, cloudy titles. This is my specialty. This is my favorite stuff possible. A lot of people get scared with cloudy titles, okay? But this is probably the best opportunity to really make some cash because people are scared of them, okay? Again, your lawyer's your best friend. If you see a property, it's got some weird title stuff, send it to your lawyer. Call me, but send it to your lawyer and have them look into it because it could be a relatively simple fix. File a quiet title lawsuit. It's all done. You know, that costs you a few $1,000s, and you know you can get a hell of a deal on a property that has title issues. People don't want to deal with. Same thing with squatters. I hate squatters, but squatters could be your best friends on properties that you're buying. You know, if someone's selling a property that has a squatter in it, right? That tells me right away, one, you don't want to deal with it. You know, you just want the quick money because again, to evict them, it's kind of a quick fix. It's, you know, not that big of a deal, but that gives you an opportunity knowing that this person doesn't want to put the time into doing that. So that's worth something. So again, you know, your lawyer's your best friend. You got these situations. Talk to your lawyer about it. You'll have an opportunity to maybe snag something way cheaper than we probably should. You put in a little bit of time, you pay for the lawsuit, and then you end up with a clean title. Okay. Yeah, so 2 rules: don't be scared, don't be stupid. Don't think that whether or not the title's clear or not. Talk to your lawyer.
Yeah.
Don't forget to check blight tickets also, in addition to the title stuff. It's very important. Sometimes those can sneak under the radar. Check water bills, look into all that stuff, and you have opportunities.
Yeah, well, can you do the previous slide? How you get that information, probate courts, gap and all those things, if you want to find out those property?
Let's see. So wait, what probate gaps?
Like a probate courts and those things.
So if you go, you can search the probate court records. You can search that online. You just, it's a little bit of work. I don't know if you could build like an AI system to do it for you. That's kind of beyond.
There's less providers out
what I do. Yeah, when I go down to the courthouse in Detroit, there are guys down there every single day. They bring their laptop, they go through the court records, and they type everything in there. When I do a probate case for someone, I'll get like 10 letters in the mail from different realtors or investors saying, hey, we want to buy your property. I'm sorry. So it's it's out there. You can do that. With the probate stuff, you're going to have a lot of competition with that, but it's still an opportunity. Really, how much does it cost to send out a letter? You get 1 or 2 deals and you kind of make your money back there. I'm more talking about properties that have really bad title histories or just a little bit of bad title histories. That's where your opportunity is. Like I said, a lawsuit, relatively easy, 3 to 5 months to clear that up. And, especially if you can get possession of the property right away, you're good to go. So that's an opportunity. Talk to your lawyer, talk to me. Eviction mistakes. Okay, again, do all the work up front. I told you about the leases, told you about the security deposit stuff. When you send notices, don't try to file an eviction the next day. Give it a couple extra days, just in case. There's no reason to squeeze the deadline. Just you don't. Legal aid loves bringing up that sort of stuff. Just give a little bit of extra time. In my opinion, I think the best time to file an eviction. So they don't pay their rent. You get the 5-day grace period. Fire off a 7-day letter right away. Okay, doesn't really cost you a stamp and a piece of paper. It doesn't mean you have to file a lawsuit 8 days later, but at least it gives you the option. Personally, I'm a fan of letting it go to the beginning of that 2nd month, and then if they don't pay within that 5-day grace period, that's a good time to file a lawsuit. Because hopefully you can kind of, depending on the city you're in, you can kind of get things wrapped up in that month or let it leak into the 3rd month. You don't want it to go beyond that. I filed a case today, $11,000 was owed. Don't do that. Kick them out before that. Because then you're going to I want my money. You're not going to get your money. I don't have 10 grand to give
my
you.
houses?
No. Thankfully. You guys are pretty good, actually. So kudos to Fran. Yeah, you guys do a really good job.
Thank God she's not here.
Yeah, sorry for him. So that's my thought. Beginning of the 2nd month, do that. So, final takeaways. This is kind of a review of everything I talked about. I keep repeating myself, but do the homework first. Talk to your lawyer. If you don't know something, ask questions, and generally you're going to be okay. Again, after this, I'll be at the desk. Anyone wants to come and talk, I'm here. I appreciate you guys for listening to me. Eric, thank you very much for inviting me. Eric, thank you so much for the slides. You did an amazing job. I appreciate you.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed the presentation, if you can please give us a 5-star review. We appreciate it very much.
I'm sorry about that.
You're okay, man. I'm going to be smarter now.
I hope so. I did not mean to talk.
We ran out of wine. We should have more wine in the room. Sean's coming. I bring the wine in the room. You guys give us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. Please. Thank you.
Hold on, it's not taking.
Sean will be available for questions after, and Sean handles a plethora of stuff for us, guys.
It doesn't give us. doesn't work for me.
April, did you get my tax?
Yeah, it's
Did you get my tax?
bro. Yeah.
My tax?
I don't
Be
care.
nice to your father.
Do it.
My father?
He's
He's not gonna give me a fucking review. What are you
He's gonna
talking
spank you, right?
I'm gonna give you a review.
So there we go. You have to
Give
hit
you
it
a
like
review,
10
all right?
times.
No, it's not.
much.
What? It's not coming, buddy.
All right, guys, everybody good?
Yep.
You got the review link,
Get in
sir?
there, get there.
Sir?
Before they leave, just go.
Thanks for Benny Fair. All right, guys, I already told you guys we're opening up Livonia. Here's our location. It's right across from the Ford plant on Plymouth
You
Road.
ready to do it?
So, be open 5 days a week, and Ali and Reagan will be there along with Julietta to help you guys all with your needs. Old AAA office. Okay? Let's go. Let's go.
Flipped it.
Here we go.
Oh, did you guys want to say anything about this?
You can do it.
Oh, wait,
You can do it.
Wait, talk about you want to give them money.
Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Mason Mondo, Eric's son, of course. And this is my best friend Benny.
Hi,
And
Benny.
we're just
Hey, Benny. Hi.
and we're just here selling 50/50s for the Miracle on Monzo Street, which is our charity that we just buy Christmas presents for kids who normally don't get presents. And since we have such great investors, this month we actually have a special basket for the second number drawn. And what do you have to say, Ben?
The kids need the presents, and it's for a good cause.
Yeah.
Oh,
Laugh at your friend.
Thank you, Benny.
Okay.
Good
Thank
job.
All right, guys. Southeast Michigan Chamber of Commerce sponsors this event. So if you want to take a screenshot of this is all their events throughout the month. Okay, as you can see, we're always the third Tuesday of every single month. But please note that the Monzo Group has a table at that event. So any of our investors are more than welcome to go. If you're not members now, sit at our table, bring a friend, especially if you're a business owner, it's a no-brainer. The chamber does a ton for us, and it is not, it's not your typical chamber, guys. These are people who are invested in your future. These are people who connect you with the right people. These are people that have done a ton of favors and help for us over the years. So we love giving back to them because they've given to us so much. All right? So if you got a business and you say, I don't know if I should join the chamber, take the time, go sit down, we'll buy you a meal, make some new friends, okay? All right, vendor minute.
They're all drinking.
Nobody's.
I'll go to.
Well, no, we gotta start with Dave because he's all fired up, he's all excited. Jolly Dave, Jolly Dave.
I'm even taking the front.
Oh, Dave, go.
So my name is David. I'm with the ACS Roofing, preferred vendor of the Monzo Group. My office is actually in the back corner. I do roofing all types, it's from shingles to commercial, TPO, EPDM. We offer financing in every different way. We're even offering in-house financing. Now, I know that's not a lot for your investors, but it could be very good. Let's say you guys own a condo and you get a big assessment for 5 to 10 grand. We're also financing assessment. So instead of everyone paying an assessment, we'll finance the board where you guys just pay monthly over time, and that could be good if you're about to sell it. For instance, my dad, he sold his condo 2 months after he just paid like a $7,000 assessment for a roof. I don't know if it helped Ron, but we just did a financing roof for complex for Ron. A little different situation, but yeah, I know it helped probably a lot of the owners in that building. So yeah, you want to elaborate on that?
Elaborate on
I think I
that.
explained it pretty good.
Association? Okay, so condo associations. Anybody that's renting out a condo association and you get your letter of assessment, and you say that, you know, Rude Rob is property manager and he says that everybody has to have $5,000 ponied up in 45 days. What you can do, if it's a roofing estimate, you can go to Dave. ACS will finance the whole assessment, and that assessment will be made on payments for the association instead of these large assessments overall. Okay? So it's a huge win, especially for investors. Instead of having to cough up that money, then they can just have a monthly payment. The association has a monthly payment, and associations cannot finance roofs. Don't ask me why, but it's not an option. And so we're doing one right now with Manor, but There's been a lot of them over time where people have almost foreclosed and lost their condos, especially even investors that kind of give up. So it's an awesome tool that they
It really helps you about the sell because the new buyers are taking over that payment.
Yep. Exactly. All right, thank you. Pretty good.
Good job.
Mr. Long, did you have something to say?
I believe you should wait for Dave. Yeah, I'm John Long. I'm with the Southeast Michigan Chamber of Commerce. So, yeah, as Monzo mentioned, we have a really close, great relationship, and our chamber is a little bit different than the normal chamber. Got quite a few members. Dave and Christina's here, and obviously Monzo and quite a few other Nicks here. So, if you're a business owner or if you're in sales, come talk to us. We have a little bit different setup. We obviously have really big events that we have. So we have like a cigar night this Thursday night down Christo's, and then next Thursday at Andiamo, we have our big networking luncheon. And we'll have probably 500 or 600 business owners there, and then we do a lot of like hands-on services where we'll refer different business to our members and help them grow their business. So send a lot of these Dave's way, and I know Dave from ACS just did the roof over at homeless shelter.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you our relationship's been beneficial on both aspects.
Yeah.
We gained a friend, and it's been a financial good investment for me as well.
So, yeah, thanks, Dave. And next year, we just had a big contract we landed with a big limo transportation company. So these are just some examples, and we just have a different kind of more client hands-on relationship. So if you're in business, let's talk and see about how we can help you grow your business. Thanks.
Hey guys, I don't know if you caught what he said there. He said, 500 to 600 business owners will be at our event. Like a normal chamber is like 50 idiots, shaking hands.
Maybe 20. I went to
they
one
all,
where there's 20.
no offense, John, but they all sell insurance. You know what I mean? I'm just, so they do a great job letting everybody in. All right, vendor minute. Who else we got? Come on over here.
Speaking of.
Hey, you're up.
All right. Hey, John Van Loon here, Goosehead Insurance Agency. Just picking up on Shant's presentation from tonight. A couple points that I could try to leave you guys with. Dogs, if you can help it, don't allow them. Number 3, cause of loss, most years. As far as that goes, kind of amazing when you think about it. Men, fire, water, dogs, number 3. Student housing, if you're doing it, understand it's going to cost you more. Not all carriers are going to allow it. So if you're in Detroit, renting to Wayne students, whoever, okay? Student housing, watch it. If you are going to take up the advice and do month-to-month leases in your first year, you're going to have your dwelling landlord policy endorsed for short-term, so just like it's an Airbnb, as opposed to long-term. So keep that in mind as well. Not all carriers do it. It's going to cost you a little bit more. If you have questions, call me. I'll be happy to review it and forward it anytime. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you, John. Vendor minute, where we got? Joe, take it over.
Cool. Joe, Matt, Sean, Michigan Mortgage Pro, preferred lender of the Monzo Group. We do literally everything. Conventional FHA, VA, DSCR, down payment assistance, commercial. We just launched that. We have a big contract right now going on for $14 million on that side. So we're doing literally everything. Question I have for the investors in the group: who here is looking to purchase or refinance soon? Raise your hand. Boom. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone looking to purchase or refinance as an investor, or even a primary for yourself in the future? Anyone? Cool. Complimentary gift card for us. We're going to pay for your appraisal as well. We're doing a little give back.
Well, I'm going to too.
We're already taking care of it. I'll give you one, Gotham. I see you. Whatever you want. It's your world. We just live in it. But it's our way. We're just running a promotion for our clients. We just want to give back. So we're here. We'll be out there talking about any scenario too. So thanks. I appreciate it.
They just launched a new website, and I think the most important thing about their website is this mortgage calculator. It goes through and it will break down quite literally everything for you.
Yeah, there's like 5 chunks.
And there's a bunch of different ones here. Affordability, you got refi savings here, amortization, home equity. It's all here. It's on MichiganMortgagePro.com. This website is brand new. Their guys have been working on it night and day, nonstop. Go check it out. Refi your houses with them. check them out.
Cool. What else we got? Anybody else? Go ahead. Rob.
Hey everyone, my name is Robert Howard. I'm with Gabriel Management. We're a property management company in the city of Detroit, the suburbs as well. We're looking to grow our business and expand. If you're an agent looking to have one of your clients talk to us about possibly managing the property in Detroit, or you're an agent that knows someone that maybe is in property management, doesn't want to do property management anymore, we'd certainly like to talk about behind the book of business. I also just want to give a plug to Dozer's Appliance. I met him here a few months ago. He kicks ass. He's on stuff. And also Shant. I met Shant here. I was really unhappy with the attorney we have been using for like the last 4 years. He rocks. He gets through files really, really quickly. Probably half the time as my last attorney. I think he's got like 11 files of ours right now. So if you're questioning using him, by all means, I know it's Monzo's preferred, but I back that. He's awesome.
Do you have cards, sir?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I would like a card.
Good, Dave.
Hi, Dave from Dozer's Appliance, appliance repairs. Every time I come, I see more and more people that I've done work for, whether it's personal homes or people doing their rental homes, whatever. So always here to help out. Preferred vendor of the Monzo Group. And mention Monzo, I will take $25 off the labor. So here to help you out.
I use
Dave is great. I've let him go inside my house many times when I'm not there. He doesn't steal anything. At least that I noticed. All right, what else we got? Hey guys.
Me.
Oh, go ahead, Sandy.
Well, we're doing leasing. This is what we're discussing today, so I just wanted to introduce myself as the leasing agent for the Monzo Group.
If you need to lease something, let us know. Anybody else? Nick, would you want to say something?
Okay. So I'm also a lender. I do commercial, residential, primarily specializing in investor deals. So DSCR, fix and flip, rehab. And then I also educate newer investors that kind of want to look at like how to approach like an investment property. Is it a good property? Is it a bad property? Why or why not? Break down the numbers. I also have a Spanish speaker processor, so if you have someone that has a little bit of a language barrier, I have that too. Awesome.
What you got, Chad, bro? Come on over.
Come on over.
Come on in.
Nick Chavro, preferred moving and storage. Pretty straightforward, right? We move things. I guess the best thing I can say is when you send us to a customer, a friend, a client, we will do what we say we're going to do. The first 5 months of the year, we have not had an estimate beyond 3% of what we estimated that move to cost. So I think there's a good value for that when it's a lot of word of mouth in business.
And they do a ton of, we'll say, freebie work or favors for us as well. Miracle on Monzo Street last year, they delivered all the presents. So we appreciate preferred storage. All right, what else we got? Can everybody get an autograph from John Graham? He came to autograph today, just so you know. We got a celebrity here. He will sign breastises or wrists, whatever you want. But in all seriousness, I'm trying to get John to do the investor meeting in Thursday, in November, third Tuesday. So give John a round of applause. And are you going to do it? You want to do it then?
Yeah, you really have to pull my leg.
That's locked in. That's locked in. Don't worry.
John flips a ton of houses, and I've known John for a very long time. He's been a realtor way longer than me. Obviously, you can tell by his face.
Yeah, I'm the guy who talks to Scotty all the time.
Okay, cool. Guys, and then I got another ask for you guys. If you guys can take out your phones, one more, please, please, please. So we're doing a contest right now. These are a lot of our friends that have made it. This is the second round for the Best of the Macomb Daily. So we are in the finals for the Best Realtor. We have ACS Roofing in the finals for the Best Roofing Company. One of our partner companies, First State Bank, is for Best Mortgages. Best Moving, Preferred Storage is right here. That was Nick, as you can see. One of our landscaping contractors, Jarson Lawn and Snow. Best Barber Shop, one of our agents, Mark also is a part-time barber, and Best Insurance. We got John, wherever the hell he went, right there, John. Insurance.
You're hiding right there.
All right, so if you guys can vote in there, we appreciate it for those people. You just scroll down to services, and you got to vote for a minimum of 3 to make it count. So, so we want to make it 4 years in a row.
Right.
Woo! Yeah.
Yep.
Does anybody not know what the Macomb Daily is? Raise your hand. So it's one of those newsy paper things. So yeah, we can get. Okay. All right. Click.
There's so many. We have to select it.
Thank you.